Okay, Gary's Tour fans, this is the start of the Terapod Trackway. This is where pteropods climbed out of the water. They were sea creatures and touched land a long time ago. And their footprints are actually captured in the stone, in the mud, in the bog that they came out of the sea from. So there's proof that they landed here. And they came on land and eventually became land creatures. This is the point in time when creatures came out of the sea and started living on the land. And they started breathing oxygen. Some of them in the sea were breathing oxygen already. And these pteropods probably were breathing oxygen. And they grew feet, and they were fish that turned into air-breathing creatures. This is also a beautiful spot where you can see the cliffs and the waves and the clouds and the mountains. There's a lighthouse off in the distance. We may go visit that next. On the right side over there, lighthouse. What true beauty in Ireland. There's the lighthouse we're going to visit next. Depending on how much time we spend with the pteropods, we may include these two videos together. And there's the white cats breaking across the... So since we always like to keep you informed, you have another hill, another 15, 20 degree gradient going down to the water line and back to your vehicle. We're about halfway down, and it's good. I'd say, because I walk 5 miles a day, I'd say you're talking about, I'd say a half mile down the hill and up the hill. Up the hill's probably going to be harder than down the hill. I'm just testing right now. I just clipped on my mic because I can tell we're going to have wind issues as we get down here. Do another take of that. All right. The geology of Valentia Island. 385 million years ago, Ireland did not exist as we now know it. It was not even in its place, but south of the equator, bordering a warm tropical sea. Since then, movement of the Earth's crust has brought it to its present position. At that time, what is now Munster was a huge part of coastal plain, with mountains to the north. Great rivers cutting through the mountains carried enormous amounts of sand and silt to the ocean. All of the rocks you see here originated from those sediments. When the rivers flooded, the sheets of silt were laid down on the coastal plains. Ripple marks, see the rock samples here. See the ripple marks? Formed in shallow pools, which later dried out and were again covered with new deposits of silt for further flooding. Over time, the silt was subjected to huge pressure and turned to stone. Today, erosion has exposed more ripple marks than were created 385 million years ago. And it's from this creation of this animal, this pteropod, a lizard-like in appearance, was about 1 meter long. And not only did it leave footprints, but here and there are faint traces of a tail drag that can be seen. These are formed when the animal dragged itself out of the water and walked on the wet mud. The prints would have rapidly filled in with mud and in time turned to rock. This track, discovered in 1992, is the oldest in situ record in the world of an invertebrate animal, with a backbone, walking on land. Before this, all known vertebrates were fish. Some of these have begun to live and feed in shallow waters at the edges of rivers. Gradually, fins evolved into primitive legs. In addition to these animals, developed the ability to breathe air out of water. They also were the first pteropods, 4-footed animals. Over time, had become more complex and evolved into mammals, and eventually into humans. I've seen this myself. There's some fish down in Colonial Williamsburg, where I used to take my kids when they were little. And right near the governor's palace is a pond, and they used to really like it there because the fish would literally, we bring a loaf of bread, and the fish loved eating bread, mostly because white bread is mostly sugar. And they would literally come out of the water with their fins. They would crawl out like a foot onto the land and then flop back after they got their pieces of bread. So yes, that's what they did. And when you're breathing oxygen in the air, it's a much more efficient way to get oxygen than oxygen in the water. It's much harder to get oxygen out of the water than it is to get oxygen out of the air. So you're getting a much stronger hit of oxygen. When you bring a fish out and he starts breathing oxygen, that kills him because he can't deal with that much oxygen. It burns him out. So I think this is really cool. You see footprints?
Yeah, those little, so those twos right there, those little indentations there, they're kind of uniform. One there. And then here, looks like it. Yeah, there's some. Oh, yeah, it's like some over there too. Yeah.
Oh, those are footprints, I'd say. Yeah. So if we leave our footprints here, 385 million years from now, they'll wonder what we were. Those could be footprints. I don't see the tail dragging marks necessarily. Let's zoom in on that. There are the footprints. That's a close-up of footprints. See if we can find some more footprints here. These are footprints. They were either made 385 million years ago or last week, for all we know. But this is where they came out of the water when it was much warmer climate around here. Well, hey, they didn't charge us any money for this. It's free. Think of it that way. Think how bad you'd feel if you paid 10 euros for this experience. I'd charge you 10 euros if I owned the place. A gift shop. Yes. Yes. Send them t-shirts and chunks of rock. Take home a piece of rock. It is beautiful here, though. Isn't Ireland beautiful? We just met those two ladies, and we gave them cards, so they'll check out Gary's tours, and hopefully they'll like and subscribe, which I'd ask you to do as well. If you like what you saw today, please subscribe. You've now seen, I'm looking for some even better footprints from these guys. I'm not seeing a lot. There are footprints there, though. There's definitely footprints of something there. See the footprints? That could be our Terapod when he landed and came on land. That have turned into stone now, as these stones broke apart. Very interesting. Historically very significant. There's some more there. Well, you've seen it now. You've seen it all. You've seen the Terapod footsteps on Valencia Island. That's V-A-L-E-N-T-I-A, not CIA. A part of Ireland, a beautiful part of Ireland, I might say, as those ladies agreed. I'd still like a house here, like right over there maybe. Build a house, great place for me.